The idea of working remotely came up and became more rampant after the pandemic hit. But would we say that was when remote work started? I don't think so. But let's talk about that. This is State of the Culture, brought to you by Izesan Speak Esan, the language learning app. I am Ngatin Justina, your host, and let's talk about remote work and is it feasible in Nigeria? I never do this alone. I always have two beautiful ladies beside me, and today I have one extra lady, which means it's going to be a real party here today. So from my right, this is our party person, you know, our gingerer. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to put it, but Tosin is all that. And yeah, I just told you her name, but introduce yourself. It's better when she does it, so
yeah. So I can use Ijile.
Yeah, you can. So what is that? Say it in your language to make it more.
Okay. That's English. Orukomini Oyedeji Oluwatosin. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's. Our guests, you know, they say they save the best, you know, for last. So you go.
My name is Duru Kilichi.
Yeah. So they would always remember that. So with us here, we have a special guest today, looking radiant.
Sumptuous.
Excited to have you.
No. We need to, you know. Have we ever had a lady on the show so far?
No.
You're our first lady, so I feel like we should have something here to share.
Champagne serving us.
Exactly, and we feel like
I'm fine one at that.
That's why it feels like a party, because a woman is joining us today, and we always love that. So please, I'd love you to introduce yourself.
In my native language?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
It'll be the best.
Great. Okay, that was good. Efamza Abigail Agbongai. Yeah, although the last name sounds a bit off, I mean, compared to my language that I just spoke. Yeah. Obviously, you know why. We are the true Nigerians. Thank you.
It's a joke, sorry. You know, you don't need to know, but you can, you know, follow how.
Tell.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
Anyways, thank you so much, Abigail, for joining us today. Our topic is actually, you know, on remote work. But before we go into that, there's this tradition of ours. I might want to bring back that story a little bit, because we like to ask you what language you speak. Yeah. So what language do you speak? Or languages?
So I speak, obviously, what I just spoke is my native dialect. That's Abriba. And it's Igbo, you know. I'm from Abia State. But I'm married to a Benin man.
Wow. Yeah, we love a good intermarriage.
Promoting Nigeria.
You know. Exactly.
So that's it.
Oh, so would you know what, we'll talk about this after the show, because exactly at the end of the show.
Let's save this.
True. So now that we know that language, we'll come back to that. So let's talk about the history of remote work. A lot of people like to say that remote work actually started, you know, or became more apparent after the pandemic hit, but it may not exactly be entirely true, because remote work is how we all started. Take your mind back to a time where there were blacksmiths, carpenters, who all worked from their homes. If you needed a herbalist or anybody to treat you, you go to their homes and you get that service. They didn't exactly have a physical office at first. So coming to an office or a place where many people came together only started when the Industrial Revolution came, which was with the invention of so many machines. And you know what machines need? They need people there to man them.
Actually.
Exactly. So a lot of people started coming together to work in, you know, offices and industries and all that. But remote work has actually been here for a while. But let's talk about the state of remote work now, Tosin. So how do you feel like the state of remote work is currently?
Okay, let me just put this out there first. Dream beautiful ladies. I've imagined that you can work 10 years ago. Would you be able to work a full-time job remotely? Sincerely, Kelechi, do you think
that 10 years ago I'll be able to? No, it wouldn't have crossed my mind.
Okay.
So for me, especially in Nigeria, it wouldn't have been possible, because, you know, obviously the companies would want to exert some sort of control. And we didn't quite have the technologies that we have right now to support that. So it wouldn't have been possible 10 years ago.
So I'm actually a person that imagined it. And when I imagined it in a way that I'm a boss woman and I'm calling my what do you call them? From home. My employees, my, you know, people I'm guarding from home.
10 years ago was 2012.
Yeah. Well,
wait, let's see.
I feel like I would have been making 10 years ago.
How old were you? And
Exactly. I couldn't have had that kind of thought.
So we all agree that
But
none
we
of us.
all thought, I think we all thought that, oh, we'd have so much money that we wouldn't have to go to like a physical space
Well, again,
every single
it depends
time.
on the kind of work that we're talking about. So
Yeah.
if it's the traditional ones that we do right now, employment based,
Yeah.
it's not really possible. But if you're the one calling the shots,
Yeah.
so you can bring
That's
us
what
to
I'm talking about.
As I said,
So, yeah.
a full-time job. Would you have imagined that a full-time job you can do it at the
Okay,
comfort
let
of your
me
home?
stop twisting it. I get you. No, I wish I've imagined that.
Okay, let me just jump on back to the state of remote job in Nigeria. Well, you know, these days we have people, before the COVID hit in 2019 or spread all over in 2020, March 2020 to be precise, we had people leaving their houses rather early in the morning and going to work, coming back at night, late at night. You see them as hardworking. That is like the legit thing. So if you're always at home, they'll be like,
lazy.
People were asking questions.
this one is a lazy person. No?
Yeah, true.
But now, like after COVID, things changed. Started having companies wanting to work remotely because during COVID you had to work, and then there was no way they can actually bring you guys to the office because of the social distancing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, it won't be surprising for you to see maybe your neighbor is turning on his or her gen as early as 10 a.m. and you're like, wow, this one and the work remotely. Like anytime you see someone putting on his or her gen that early, just know this person actually has job to do. You see them locking their windows just to distract, to close all noise, and then you keep hearing them on Zoom meetings and everything. So like Nigeria and the world actually has evolved from the morning traffic, going and coming, to just being at the comfort of your home, just like set up an office and then you do what you have to do. And a statistic I saw showed that Lagosians, to be precise, spend 30 hours in a week on the way. So imagine that 30 hours being put into work
From home.
from home. The employers will actually like have more to gain. So
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, honestly. And I feel like everybody had a little bit of experience during that pandemic time. Some people were in school.
Yeah.
Some people were.
I enjoyed it
Some
anyway, I
people
was at
were.
school.
Yeah. Some people were turned to remote jobs. Some people started working remotely, while some were even put out of their
A
jobs.
lot of businesses
Yeah,
came
oh my
out.
God, yes.
True.
And it's so funny how some of the out of their job, why some made so
Much
much
money. Yeah.
Yes.
For some it was like a blessing.
There
Like
were
the
some
diversity
people
is just...
that I feel like I know personally that did not even get like a sack letter, nothing, just like that was it, and they stopped working at it. Like, they were not contacted by their employer at all. Then that was how they got out of the job. So it was actually a certain. Can you?
For me, there comes a time usually in when you try to do a tracing of what's happened in history. You mentioned the Industrial Revolution. There comes a time when something happens that really changes the paradigm.
Yeah.
Before now it was the Industrial Revolution. Then you had the internet.
Yeah.
At the point you had just the printing press.
Yeah.
It changed a lot of things. But this period, it was a pandemic.
Yes.
A lot of things actually flipped during this pandemic.
Yeah,
So the nature of work, in fact, the person that has the power in the office, when you talk about jobs now, before now it was the employer's market.
Yeah.
It was, like companies, people went to companies to look for jobs.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, there was something that happened that period that turned it around. So it's now the companies that come looking for people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why? Because people have now understood the power of personal branding.
Wow.
Before now, it wasn't that way. All you aspire to do as a young graduate leaving the university was to go find a job.
Yes. You won't be
Find
in
a
a
job
position
and go work.
Yes.
But now, like you mentioned, there was a lot of things that happened, and people now realize that you could make money from just with your mobile phone.
Yeah.
That consciousness was not there.
It was
before
never
now.
there.
You could do a lot of things remotely. You could sign up on apps that you would, your productivity was not measured by you being in an office from morning to night.
Just
You
results.
don't have to spend endless hours of your time commuting to and fro work. You can actually use those times to make other things, make healthy meals for your family, still be productive, still make a whole lot of money. So now you have many options, and those were not there. So this is something that has really changed the industry.
Honestly,
and nature of life.
Yes, and speaking now, you just mentioned a couple of benefits of remote
Yes.
work. So to Kelechi, I feel like you can tell us a little bit about, the benefits of working remotely. Yeah.
Like there's so much benefit. Like if you actually weigh the benefit and then disadvantages, benefit actually outweighs disadvantages if you look at it. Disadvantages are little bit compared to the benefit. Like she has said so much. Like, and one thing that this whole pandemic thing did for us, like it changed our mindset.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
it made, like when she said it gave power to employees, that's so true. Because before, as a graduate, you have to go to submit CV in places. Like even you thinking of that, us that have not graduated, we're just thinking of having to go to
at that time.
the mental stress already. You just not there, but just thinking about it. It was enough. But then this came and it was like, bruh, you can submit your CVs online.
Yes.
And even if they say it to you, you can sell yourself.
You can.
Oh my god, there are so many things you can do. Like I feel even the pandemic, the social media influencers, they got a lot of money because content were like they were food for people. People were literally online throughout. And so even like this woman CME on YouTube, that was where she made so much money because people were going to her page to watch how to cook videos. People were trying things. Exactly. So these people were like they were able to give content to us so we can feed. So remote jobs they brought so many benefits. Like convenience. From your home, you get to do things, you get to add value from your home. Like there is before staying at home, you feel very, can I say word, useless. You feel not able to put value to people because you're just indoors doing nothing, not meeting people. But then with the whole remote job thing, you're impacting value, you're changing lives from your home.
From the comfort of your home.
Girl, that is enough thing. And having to spend time with you love, because one of my fear growing up was that I would get so caught up in the circle of chasing money and I won't spend time with the people I love. That was one fear I had because I really want to have fun time with my people. I want to really give them my time. So having remote job come along is like, now you get to spend time with your family. Like now you get to be a present parent. Like be there. You can't testify. Like
once you're working.
The more you still come in and you're still enjoying. It's a whole paradigm shift. It's a whole. So yes.
So let's speak to you, Abigail, because we know you can tell us, but we already know we spoke before the show, and we know you're working remotely. So what she's saying, what are the things that has benefited you while working remotely? How has it? How do you feel? How do you feel about working remotely so far?
First of all, I got my job from the comfort of my home. So at this time, I haven't been to my office, and I've been working with this company for the past. It's just a little over a year.
Wow.
So let me tell you, like she said before, now what you have to do is that you have to go looking for the job. So for me, I interviewed for the job when I was 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
They didn't know I was pregnant.
Oh my goodness.
So I did my interview.
Girl.
And I didn't even know they were going to call me, but I did my interview perfectly and had my baby a little while after. And I think 3 months into my maternity leave, I got the call. So it's for me, like she said, the comfort is unparalleled. And I was with that baby. I didn't have to take her to a crèche.
Yes.
Wow,
I was with that baby. She was, I could nurse and do my work. There was little or no discomfort or inconvenience. So having that opportunity to spend time with my child while also delivering on my job was something that cannot be compared. And again, having the time as well to spend time with other people that you love. Like if you have a family person that you need to support, like your mom or someone else, it's something that is also incomparable. And for me right now, we're in Abuja having this show. My husband here is in Abuja, but my work is in Lagos. So I can work from any part of the world.
Exactly.
So I don't have to go to the office, commuting endless hours just to go to the office. So that in itself means that you can have family time. You can coexist. Before I was work-life balance. But now it's life, work. Life before the work. So it's life-work balance. So you now integrate your work, incorporate your work into your life. And so it's no longer a rat chase. Before we called it rat race, go. You're trying to meet up.
Yeah, you get out to get going.
Meet up. But right now, you can schedule things. But the most important thing is that you deliver on your job.
Yeah.
So for companies now, the way they evaluate productivity has to change.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the number of hours you spend at work.
Yes.
So it's about what you deliver. So that way you can even pay people and compensate them for the outcomes and not just for the presence.
Yeah.
So when you look at it that way, you know that even the companies are benefiting.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Totally.
So it's for me, it's a win-win situation. But obviously, not every company has gotten to that point.
Not
Yes,
everybody agrees.
actually.
Yeah.
And I feel like not everybody actually has the capacity
Exactly.
to work from home.
No,
So
not
before I get to that, you talked about being pregnant, and imagine, an 8-month-old heavy woman showing up for an interview.
I probably won't have gotten that job. If they're not an equal opportunity employer.
Exactly.
But,
So
I mean, there would have been that element of this discrimination.
So you should go maternity leave.
Exactly,
the
that's
interview
another
process
thing.
would have been colored with a lot of bias.
True.
Because you are now thinking, am I going for her because she's pregnant?
Yes.
Or, there will be all those unconscious bias from the interviewers.
Yes.
So, but those were not present because they couldn't see my pregnancy. And it didn't have to be called into question at all during the interview process. And of course, it didn't even bother them at the end of the day.
And part of the best part about having Zoom meetings from home is like, gee, all you need to do is dress up here.
That was on rapper.
Yeah.
And can I even shock you? So
What?
when I resumed at the job, my immediate boss, we never even got to do the face-to-face Zoom meetings. It was all about the audio.
Wow.
We were talking every day, but
They
I
never
didn't see
see.
her.
Wow.
We didn't get to see. So it was
Wow.
basically, talking to her, making sure that she, there's lots of ways you can monitor what gets done.
Yeah.
So that's some people call it impersonal touch, but there are ways you can infuse, some kind of personality into what you're doing. So it's not a barrier. It could even be, like you mentioned, you could actually be working with someone that is in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And
And you wouldn't know.
the person wouldn't feel like, I'm being
Looked down
upon
Yeah.
because of my condition. And that would not even come into play. So it also gives opportunity for people that are, disabled or that have other.
Yeah, and it's just completely skill-based. It's what you bring to the
completely-
table.
What do you bring to the table? What do you have to offer
gets
us?
you picked.
And I would like to add, because when women go on maternity leave, there is this feeling of undervalue. Because I know women stories, like they tell their stories of when they go into maternity leave, they feel not themselves because they're not at home and all they have to do is just a baby. So they don't feel like they're self in the working class person. They don't feel useful enough. But now this remote jobs gives them the ability and liberty to actually feel useful and still be
working
there.
and nursing your baby.
Girl.
Nursing your baby.
It's just a lot.
True, but I know we've been talking so much about the benefits because in life, in this life, there is nothing that is completely, good and beautiful.
True.
There's definitely some.
Perfect.
So now let's talk about the challenges of working remotely because it can't exactly be easy. And I will not believe you say there was a time you were working and then the baby was crying because exactly. So let me just mention a few and let me put a personal touch to it, especially at a period like this. I work remotely as well.
Okay.
In a time like this, that's at the time of this recording, there's currently fuel scarcity, long lines, and then complaints about low power supply as well. And then whatever reason they're giving us is not, it's still the same reason. Oh, the rain is not falling, so the dam is drying up. That's why there's no light. Exactly.
Power plant has died.
No
light.
Yeah, so we're hearing that. And then somebody working from home, you need to generate your own power. And in order to generate your own power, what do? You need to buy fuel. And then you have to go to the lines. And currently, some stations don't even like to sell to people in kegs because they're trying to limit black markets
guys.
sale. So that is actually a challenge. You're working from home and you're trying to generate your own power. Some people even end up, somebody was advising me that I should just pack up my laptop, my phone, and just go to a cafe. Buy juice.
Been there.
But that's the new trend now. People having to go to look for workspaces. That's a trend.
That's even extra cost.
Been there, done that.
Are you serious?
Go
You
somewhere.
share your experience.
Yeah, just go somewhere and buy something. Actually, you tell us about it. So that's a challenge. And that thing again is definitely work-life balance comes into play. You're working from home and there are so many things happening around you at home. So you need to actually segment your time and know, okay, am I putting enough time into my work to deliver what I'm supposed to, and am I giving, the home? Because the thing with working remotely is there's no barrier. You're not going out and coming back in. You're doing it from home, so you don't know when you're mixing work with something that with family. Exactly. So there's a bit of a struggle there as well. And even when you're working remotely, another problem is communication. This three of us, we have our personal story about setting up meetings. You need convenient time. Maybe you want to set up a meeting between everybody. Maybe this one, something has happened. Something
is happening.
Something maybe
Me always on the road.
maybe she was supposed to be at home few minutes and she's not there. Okay, no, that's you. You personally, like, what are the challenges that you face?
Maybe you go
right now I have like 3 different networks.
Wow.
So they are always on. So
we're
going to be switching.
You
so
cannot be
when one
disappointed.
network decides to go to sleep, we have to switch the other ones. And like you mentioned, the lighting issue. For me, we've always had an inverter, so that helped. So that helped. And I would advise anyone, no matter what, if you can afford it,
get it,
because the convenience is really, really exceptional. I mean, you don't have to switch on, turn on, and all of those. You can just charge for a few minutes or a few hours, and then you are good. So that's one of the ways that we've been able to curtail or at least overcome that part of the challenge. And like you said, baby, you could be working and someone is saying, "Come me, that's carry me." And for one of those times, my daughter actually picked my older daughter kid actually picked my boss's call.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Wow. So how did it go? Tell us how it went. Outcome.
So like I said, I've not met my office people. This is my boss's boss calling me, and then my daughter just goes, I was not even there. She just picked the call. I didn't even know she picked the call. I don't even know what that's the funny part, because she's like 3. I didn't even know what she told him.
They're so smart.
So, but when I saw when I called him back, he was just laughing, and for me, that was the first time he laughed with me.
Wow.
Before then it was just the work. We have to do this. We have to do this. This feedback and all of that. But that day, for me, that it was like a watershed moment. It broke the ice.
Thanks to the baby.
Thanks to the baby. I now had to ask him, what did she tell you? Because I was wondering, did she say I was in the bathroom, or did she say? He just laughed and said, don't worry about what she told me. And so we're all humans. It made me realize that at the end of the day, we're all just humans. No matter how serious we want to look or be, there's still that humanity that comes out of us when you can't really remove all that from the work. It could be a pet, it could be your kid, but no matter what, let it flow. Don't be so caught up in trying to look prim and proper all the time.
Let it flow.
True.
Let it flow.
But let's talk about the effectiveness.
But Tosi's disadvantages and my disadvantage about remote job. Because she was supposed to give us a story.
Okay, yeah, true.
Of our workspace. Then I would say my disadvantage of remote job too.
Yeah, true.
Fine.
Yeah,
you guys know I'm a storyteller.
Before, tell us.
I always have stories to tell.
Yes.
And I'll use the most recent one today.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. So I woke up as early as 5:30 to get fuel. Went to one particular fuel station along Kubwa Express. 5:30 a.m. I got there by 6, and then we met cars.
At 5:30, that means they slept over. That's what
they slept over.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I went with my friend because I needed like fuel in my jerry can, and if I go there alone, they will not attend to me. So I have to like go with this person. You have a car, so if you're buying full tank and then just presenting my car, you're going to attend to me. And fun fact, I went to my ID card as a core member.
So smart.
Yeah. So on getting there, the queue, it did.
It always does, girl.
Always. The queue, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. To cut the long story short, we got to our turn at 11:46.
Wow, from 5.
Yeah, from 6. We got there by 6. And then time to buy. These soldiers, they came and they're like, no, we are going to camp. We have to buy. And then brought about 6 e-logs. They want to buy at once. And then they were like, no, Ghana, small, this, that. They're like, now this madam day. And I said, okay, I want to buy. Like, come on, sure. So we come in, but copper. Hey.
Oh my goodness.
So when I'm like, okay.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
I'm like, so like the challenges I have with this remote job thing is, first off, I got this job remotely.
Exactly.
Like, I'm enjoying it. But the challenges are before I got my gen, this light thing. It's an issue.
It is.
And
my God,
I can't tell my boss that I don't have lights. He expects me to deliver. You have to deliver.
Period.
So I see myself going to a cafe.
Yeah.
Rather, I want to buy time. I don't want to do anything, but I just have to do something. And I'll just sit down there, charge my phone, charge my power bank. Or I have to there was I enter the church just to charge.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after the generator thing now, I have to hustle for fuel. So imagine spending I think I spent about 5 hours just to get fuel that's going to finish maybe on Friday.
Yeah.
So like it's just like that. Maybe I will invest in inverter.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, if you can,
Sharing the
definitely.
benefit is good.
I should.
Yeah. For me, actually like what I can think of is busy one because people have said like almost everything. For me, I love dressing up to go out. Like I'm a dresser. I love the vibe of looking nice, looking good, getting myself out there. Okay. And like so having to stay at home it gets very tricky for me because I love to dress up and just go somewhere. And just because for me, even I'm the kind of person that what I wear actually guarantees how I give. Like how I'm serious. Like if I dress very nice, I give you the best of myself. Okay. Really, like I feel my attitude for the day, like you from my dressing. So like some days are very laid back, some days are very bossy. Like let's get the job done. Do you understand? So having to stay at home.
So what's the feeling now?
Every day. The feeling is boss now. Can't you see this?
Okay.
It's body great. So like having to just stay at home and then do nothing. Like every day in day, I feel boredom creeps in. That's why people have to go to cafes because they want to change environment.
Yeah.
Boredom creeps because you stay and do the same thing, go in circles. So I feel that's one of the disadvantages.
If I may just piggyback on what she said, it's actually very true that when you stay at home, working from home, you can get very, very stuffy and all of that. And for some people as well, just being in an office environment helps you to socialize.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful form of socialization because if you're not able to build that relationship with people, via the Zoom meetings, I mean, it could be also, it can also translate to your work as well.
Yeah.
So I agree with her. However, I feel that even in our immediate environments, there are other ways you can get that sense of community.
True.
You can get that from other places, but I also still agree that in the example that she mentioned, you really have to. So what I do for me is that I have to take walks in the evenings because now that we've removed that element of commuting, you could just like I've seen some clips where at 8:55 a.m. someone is still in her pajamas. At 9 o'clock, they're already dressed and ready for work. You could just wake up 1 minute and the next minute you're already ready for work.
You're already at work.
You're already at work. So it removes that element of physical activity. So you really have to
get your body moving.
In the evenings, take a walk, let the air refresh you.
Okay.
All that.
Yeah, true. So let's talk about the effectiveness of remote work actually. How effective is it compared to a physical, the usual way we went to offices to talk and, to work in a physical space? How effective is remote work compared to working physically?
Okay.
So let me just touch on it before I
just
straight on you. Well, the thing is, thank God for COVID-19. Let's just put it out there like that because if not for COVID, there's no way going to know that the productivity you give to your job is not linked to the location. So if I'm giving my best, I don't have to, how will I put it? I don't have to be at the office space to give my very best. So this remote jobs have just shown us that you can actually give your very best from anywhere as long as you put your heart to it. Unlike before or pre-COVID. So it's actually according to a survey done, I think his name is Daniel, or I can't remember his full name. He did a survey amongst Nigerians, and then most people came out that, oh no, they're enjoying the remote job thing, they're giving their best, there's no complaints, and their bosses are okay with it, and they're fine with it. And at the end of the day, you just see that the point is remote jobs are as effective as physical jobs,
not more.
If not more effective. Yes, they have their own backside or downside, but then they're actually as effective as the physical jobs.
All right, so what do you think about that?
Okay, so for me, I think, like she said, is okay. In some cases, productivity has quadrupled. Actually, let me give you an instance. If you're living in Lagos, for instance, where
You have to bring Lagos.
Where you have to. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm actually terrified. You know, having if I have to move to Lagos, that means it's almost like a part of your life will just be gone. Being trying to, you know, you're going to invest that in things that are not fruitful.
Yeah, actually.
I've lived in Lagos, I've worked in Lagos, and I know I spent maybe between 3 to 4 hours every day in traffic
Just to get
to get to and from work. So you know how drained you would be and how sleep starved you will be.
Yeah.
So that in itself will impact on your productivity because by the time you realize, oh, I need to be on my way, I will spend, and you will drive or you pick, you know, you can join other. So it definitely reduces productivity. So depending on the location, I think that one is really key. Then again, lots of people have, even in my own company, we haven't had a downtime because people are working from home.
Wow.
We haven't had a downtime. I mean, operations are still going on, you know, smoothly, flawlessly. And I've looked at other people's statistics, and people have given their own, you know, verifiable, quantifiable, measurable results that show that because they are working from home, they've been able to improve their productivity as well as reduce costs.
True.
Yeah.
A lot of.
And to even take it the extra mile, some companies have decided to, you know, invest in little co-sharing locations. So if you feel like you don't want to be at home anymore, you go to a place where a few other people can come. Just like you said, like a cafe kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it's temporary. You can just and you can expense the company. So things like that, people are beginning to be creative about it, and it's not impacting on products. But we know that there are some jobs you must be present to do. Those are different. But when you can, I mean, for me, I'll always give it a thumbs up.
Even bankers that we feel like they should always be there. Some bankers still work from home.
Yes.
Some of them. Till date.
Even when they bring about this bank app thing, also had an effect on it.
Yeah.
So just you know that traditional method of just everybody coalescing at the same point. What you would do when you are in that point, you could actually do when you are all within different virtual locations.
Because you're happy. You're happier.
Yeah, true.
You know, whilst working and then you have like a food by your side, you know.
Yeah, that's how you get fat.
Like for me,
I'm scared of that, but that is one of the benefits actually. Something that some employers don't actually know is that people being in a physical space doesn't necessarily mean they're working.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They come there, they chat. Yes, there's work. Well, there are effective people that actually do their work. But then you see a lot of people who come there, gist, morning till night, gist, or leave their cubicle to go to another cubicle and like half the day you are just gisting.
Checking your time for 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
Exactly.
And working from home helps you as a company or as an employer to actually know who is productive and who is
not. And it made them strategic.
Because it helps you to actually differentiate the physical presence from the output. So
for me, like this working whole thing, like I feel that it made employers know that a 9 to 5 is not necessarily 9 to 5 because the work can be done less than 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Because in Nigeria especially, they are like, you can't leave till 5
o'clock.
And like this whole thing opened their mind to know that, see, I can get the job done less than that time because the aim is not the time I spend at work, it's the productivity. Everybody opened their mind to do. Yes, exactly.
What I give.
So like remote job for me is a goal. Like it's a goal. Like it's a goal. And I feel that if we don't want to totally scrap out the commutable job, we can just make it hybrid. Hybrid is when you mix both. So you guys can meet once in a while physically because also like promote the socialism thing going on.
And the corporate culture.
Exactly, yes. And just look nice, just glam up and just,
come out. Let me see my colleagues.
And I know that would be your best time. Like, let me say, you say, okay, every Friday we'll meet. That's the day that you prepare. You understand? So I love it. Like, I really love the remote thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking one-sidedly. Will I say that? We've been talking about being employees. How about being an employer? What are the advantages and disadvantages towards, for the employers when it comes to remote work? Like, we can actually start with you.
Yeah,
what do you think?
So, the advantages for the employer. So, we've kind of touched on that. It helps you, of course, to know where your strengths lie, where your productivity. So, like what she was saying, you actually remove eye service from work. Because going to work, like you said, some people are just chatting along in the corridors, trying to get visible. But with remote work, you actually know what are the core things that actually strengthen your business. For me, I would like to know that. I would like to have that visibility in my workflow. Then, as well for the employer, one of the advantages as well would be the fact that you have more flexibility with your own time. I mean, one of the reasons we all want to be employers or to be entrepreneurs or to be on our own is to have some sort of flexibility.
Definitely.
If I don't have to be in a physical location every time to get something done, I mean, for me, it's priceless. If I'm an online entrepreneur, I can get talent from everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what? Companies that actually promote this working from home, they're the ones that are attracting global talent. Unlike you just waiting for people, getting people in your locality, which could be, limited. You could get. I have someone that actually right now he works for at least 3 global brands.
Wow.
And he doesn't have more than 24 hours in a day.
Wow.
He's delivering.
And
so
that tells
you he has one head as well, like all of us. So if he had been constrained, and this is someone that had been looking for a job for as far back as 2016.
Wow.
As far back as 2016. But when he realized that he could be the employer and not just the employee
again.
Yeah.
So he had to, retrain, upskill and everything. And now he's doing very well just because he could tap into that space. So as an employer, it helps you to have access to limited opportunities. You have access to lots and lots of. But the disadvantage as well could be, having a way or a model to ensure that the people you work with deliver.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy.
Yes.
I mean, there are the excuses could come up.
Yeah.
Like
and
we have tried to
yes.
So you must have to also show empathy, but you also have to have a way to get people to deliver. So there are many ways one could do this. So as an employer, one of the disadvantages, like I said, is that part of it, getting people to actually do what they have to do. And you just have to do that by linking their productivity to their compensation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So based on what you bring.
Based on what you bring to the table.
Okay. So, Tosin, what do you...
As an employer.
As an employer,
Yep.
one of the advantages is going to save you for parking space.
Yes.
Imagine you start parking in your space, you're like, who is this?
Again, you could also save costs.
Yeah.
On physical structures.
Yeah, you save costs, you save
your rent, you save your rent.
Save your rent and a lot more too.
And the money you spend on, on transportation every day is like, you'd actually save that. You can use that for your data, but let me just take that as the disadvantage, because like working remotely, we've been praising it, but it has its own wahala.
Yeah,
because I spend somehow my transport money for data, but continue.
But data is actually a very funny thing. Let's say you're making use of a Wi-Fi now. Wi-Fi now for an iPhone, you don't know how to you cannot control what would work and what would not work. Exactly. If I'm connected to a Wi-Fi, my Snapchat, my Instagram, my WhatsApp, everything is running at the same time.
You can actually turn it off.
For Wi-Fi, you can't.
Okay.
For your data, yes, you can. So normally, let's say you have like an office space. Maybe the office has its own Wi-Fi. You don't have to spend on data too much. Like my sister, she said, like, oh, let me just get to work a bit. I don't want to buy data. Because when she gets to work, she's connected automatically. But when she comes back home, you have to subscribe all the time. So it saves you your money for data, and then for the disadvantage of data thing, you have to spend double. And then for those working from home too, you have to spend double on your bills, electricity, because you're always working online. You need to buy meter every time. You're always buying, you're buying because you're burning your units with the lights, and if you have ring light, you have to power the ring light. You have to plug your phone all the time. So you have the fan, the AC, just have to do so much just to get the work done. So just all of that.
So
for me,
before please for you.
And I also have a question for her.
All right,
maybe you go from anyone. So for me as an employer, fun fact, I have looked forward to being a remote employer, because there's this woman I follow on Instagram, Dana Chanel, and now she wakes up. I think they go actually physically for they have their work physically, but then before the physical meeting, they have an online meeting. You prep for the physical meeting. Okay. For me, that's very nice. You're getting them ready. So by, let me say, around 5 a.m., they have their physical meeting on Zoom. And they talk about the plans for the day. It brings intentionality. So I feel that as an employer, if I was an employer, I would have to be more strategic. It means me having to think outside the box. To be very like I remember this, like YouTube, they had a virtual because of the pandemic thing, so they couldn't have the physical meeting, so they had a virtual meeting. So what they did was that they sent foods to the YouTubers. That was very creative. So now they all came on the meet and they were eating. Now it means you as an employer having to be very strategic. You have to think outside the box. So if I was an employer, I would do some of that. I would figure out, okay, let's have a prep meeting, and like I would try a way to minimal all these things, and also what she said, having to pay exactly what you bring, because that would make your employer think outside the box. Like you'll be like, oh my god, so you had sense like this. You make it know that your people have sense, and also opening up to global talent. Oh my goodness, that because Google does that. Google opened their doors to global talent, and that's why they keep elevating, because one thing is that what you have is not all there is. That's one thing people need to realize. That there is always fresher talent. Because now, if I had a firm, I will keep recruiting young people, because it will make my company keep being new, because they are new. They're like, let's say new minds, but they are ones that they know the trend very well. So you have to keep bringing them in so that they will keep being innovative for you. So I feel as an employer, you have to keep being creative.
So I don't want you to actually move to the next question, because I want to give an answer as well. Because I feel like for some employers, it might be a bit tricky, and it comes with trust as well, because you're hiring someone you've never seen before, and then they're kissing, because not all, when you look at it, not all employees have the capacity to work fully from home without support from the employers. Imagine an employer buying a system for an employee, and the employee disappears with it. This is true story, actually. Like the employee doesn't, goes away with the equipment provided by, the employer.
That's stealing.
That's stealing. Exactly. So it's hard to know who to trust, because definitely in interviews, people will promise you heaven and earth and say they can do up and down, but you can't actually tell like who is trustworthy and who until they deliver. So I feel like for employers it might be a bit tricky, but I do support a couple of advantages, like the fact that it supports the reduction of money they spend on workspaces. I think I have a personal experience with that. Someone I used to work with during the pandemic, in fact, I started working remotely for this person. And then when we started physically, gradually, he had to close down because it was a rented space. So we had like a few rooms. He had to close down some rooms, and he actually saved the cost of rent. He actually paid because we didn't need that much space anymore. So it was actually like a big thing for him. So I feel like, that's a plus for the employers as well. You just need to put more extra care into your recruitment process, because the streets are wild. Very wild. It go carry on.
Nigeria is hard.
And references too.
Yes.
You have to really ensure that the references that people you can verify.
But do they even call these references?
They verify certificates. Those are things that because you don't know who you're actually talking with. If it's just recruitment online. And one of the things that we've actually not said here that working from home has done for a lot of us is that we've taken time to make our homes more beautiful. I don't know if you guys so because you now have to work from home, unlike before, you just have to get up and get going.
Out.
Now you have to make a part of your house your office. And sometimes you're on Zoom, you have to get the ring lights. So you just have to be intentional about keeping your home as beautiful as ever.
Yeah, definitely. I never saw myself as somebody who would get a ring light, but somehow
I know, right?
There's one in my house now. So I actually do agree. I'm so sorry I stopped you, Kelechi, from asking a question. You can ask your question now.
My question. So I would like to ask all of you, starting from you, ma'am. Do you think this remote job stage, is it a phase, like is it a passing trend, or is it here to stay?
My dear, it's here to stay.
Why do you think
I think in some companies, the employees are ready to fight you physically if you insist. So if you go online, if you go to some of these like professional platforms like LinkedIn, one of the most topical conversations that are going on right now is the balancing act between working from home and the fact that some employers want people to come back to the offices. This is one of the topics that bring out the vehemence in people. I've seen threads where people are calling each other names, like really bad names, telling some employers you're stuffy, you're you're just a controlling freak.
Yeah.
You just want to have people in the space because you didn't spend, you didn't.
Twitter is not for
like
the
That's the place.
Twitter is another rough place. Twitter is another rough place. But why it amazed me was that LinkedIn is supposed to be, professional, everyone is calm. So, but I could actually see people telling other people that you've spent so much time building your wealth, stepping on people that you didn't build relationships, and now you just want to bring in people and put them in the office so you could feel good because you have someone that will come around to make you, peck your ego up.
Yeah.
So it's one of the issues that, even for me, I feel very strongly against it, and it's one of the things that will determine where the labor market will go. So I don't think it's a phase. I think it's here to stay. Okay. And employers are best. They are best. I think they should be wise right now. They should know that, like what you mentioned before, the best you can do is to let your employees have their choices. Let them make the choices. If it's a hybrid model, once in a while you come into the office, let the physical interactions happen. But over and above, they should be allowed to make the choice as to where they want to work. So far, it does not impact on productivity. We've really gone past that period and we're not going back.
Period. No moving back. So you, Justina, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, like I said earlier, remote jobs didn't just start. And it's definitely here to stay. And people are already comfortable. They are getting used to it. They are more productive this way for a couple of people, because I can't say everybody is more, productive working from home, because we have some people that even in this day and age, they are not tech savvy. They can't even work with, so they need their physical interactions.
Actually, they should have skilled.
Yes. So
growth is constant.
Yeah,
but then
take classes.
We might want to talk about what about like the old, well, they'll be retiring, but like the older people, because I feel like a lot of them might be on this table where they're like, I beg, leave the computer thing, let me go to my office. That's where I want to go and work or something like that. But I feel like as young people, it doesn't mean they're not excluded from upskilling or learning. I feel like they are the people that want to say that more. But definitely, we're going to have, this remote work. It's here to stay, actually. We might have some hybrids where, some people go sometimes and come and work from home. But definitely, it's actually something that I feel like it's not a passing trend. It's here to stay, actually.
Justin, what do you have to say?
For me, it's actually here to stay, too. Let me just give one. She said something about the older people, and then I thought of my mom. Yeah. She has a shop here, and then she's like, even if she's sick, rest. She said, no. She wants to go outside, though. That she needs to see human beings. Yeah. That's the only thing that'll keep her okay. So imagine telling my mom that you have to work from home. It won't work. Yeah. It won't work.
But home is not one particular location.
Yeah.
So home could be in the gardens. Home could be just about anywhere. Yeah. So you could still have your moments to interface with people, but you're still doing your work.
I mean, I agree, but for them, they like to, when they are used to this particular space, they are used to that particular space. They don't even want to evolve. Yeah. I just want this as I want this. Yeah. Just like maybe their methods of cooking. I want this as I want this. Don't change it for me.
Don't add extra Maggi or anything.
Don't change it for me. This is how I want it. My mother taught me like this, so I have to do it like this. So remote jobs are here to stay.
Period. So for me, definitely, like, I'm on the same page, because one of the things is that, because one thing that the pandemic did for us, it changed our mindset. So it made people see what really matter. People now realize that, because everything was on shut down. Like people could, like, it was a scary moment. Like, if you can go back to that time, you were very scared. Like, what do I do in my life? People now had to find who they were, because all they were just going every day out. Yeah. So they had to find who they were. They even have to learn about their family members, because this person you've been living with is not who you think he was. The children, not be who you understand.
When you spend long weeks with them in the same space.
Spent months.
Exactly. So there's a lot of restructuring going back. So it's like giving someone a taste of something and then taking it back. We're not going to change, because we have tasted that life of convenience. So having to change it is going to be very hard. So I feel it's here to stay on a very long run. The only thing that can now work for both employers and employees hybrid. Let's all come to a common ground. Okay, you will see me. You see me. So let me still be in my comfort zone. You understand? You see when you see me. So I feel that can work. So my next question will be, so there are companies that, during the pandemic, there were companies that actually put out remote policies. Do you know some of those companies? And did your company actually have remote policies, remote work policies?
Definitely. It's part of the business continuity plan. Yeah. You definitely have to. So yeah, it was something that companies had to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you didn't have one before then, it was a moment for you to take a step back, evaluate the situation, and put together one. And what did it really contain? Just about, that, because when you're working from home or wherever you're working from, you need to protect your information. Yeah. So you need to, that was one of the times that companies had to invest in technologies that could help staff
work from home. Yeah.
But in the process, you must protect the confidentiality of what you're working with. So you have people around you, but you don't want your information to get into the wrong hands. Yeah. So that plan played bare what you are expected to do, how you expected to do it, and the company also gave people the tools that they needed to. Like I said, I resumed remotely, so I had to get my laptop sent to me.
Wow.
Set up for me and everything. So those are the things that we had to do at that time. And of course, it's one of the times that IT people really showed their work.
And they're still doing that now.
Tech be working.
And girls.
You can't unmute yourself. You're trying to speak, you can't unmute. Yes. So things like that crept up, and with the support of everyone. I mean, we're here, we're still working, and we're still getting it done.
We're enjoying it.
So
So
the plan is working.
Even talking about I want to get even talking about the perception of some employers, when it comes to remote jobs, some people are not exactly still open to remote working till date. And some people, immediately the lockdown was relaxed, they wanted to just everybody come back.
Break time is over.
So some people actually feel that way. So I feel like we might need to do a little bit convincing with our work as employees or as individuals, and then these employers as well, if they want to move with the trends, they actually need to upskill and look for a way to work.
Be open-minded.
Yes, be open-minded to
let the results show. Take your decisions based on the results. Not just vague perceptions or what we used to do. This is how we used to do it. Let the people, let the resource, the human resource, actually influence your decisions.
So basically we've said everything actually. And I really loved this session. Thank you so much for coming. Now let's get back to the language, because you're not living here without giving us a bit.
Small spice.
Yes. So
I'm ready.
You said hello, you introduced yourself. How about you say bye, or you say
how she felt about today.
How do you feel? And you can do it there.
Your language.
In my language.
Yes.
Okay. Kani. Ka.
That you just speak it, then you not translate it.
Okay, so I should speak
it.
Okay.
It can be one line.
Anyhow.
So one line.
For me, I'll just give you guys a compliment. It was a thoroughly enjoyable experience for me, with you ladies, and you made it seem so easy. So thank you. I enjoyed it. So to say it in my language.
Yes.
You're waiting for the
waiting for that.
If I'm check my table.
Oh wow.
Ndamo never. Wa me if I call it out tricky.
Ew.
Me.
Bakamishi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abigail, for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you, our first lady on
the show.
The season, our first season. Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for coming.
Justice to
everything. For having me.
Yes, and thank you to my co-host, Kelechi.
Girl,
beautiful,
I got you.
Motivational speaker extraordinary. And then the life of the party.
Girl,
the vibe, the cruise.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you,
keep it going.
Our ginger.
Keep it going.
This is hot. Thank you
Give
so
me
much.
some.
I'm giving you.
Nonsense.
My name is Justina Angiatin. This is State of the Culture. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We talked about remote jobs and how feasible it is in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. Don't forget to download our African language learning app. It is Izesan. Speak Esan. You can get it on your Google Play Store or your iOS store and get learning those interesting African languages that you would grow to love. Try them.
Yes.
You said go no say na confirm.
I love that pigeon. You know,
the gas here.
Thank you so much. Bye, and that's it for the show.
Bye.